Peace, family. I got through looking at this interview from Booger Ray Leonard Ellerbe, and Sean Porter. First, let me address the Leonard Ellerbe interview. So this is the interview that Leonard Ellerbe did with Fight Hype, and they asked him a question about Terence Crawford, Tszyu, Errol Spence. Leonard Ellerbe broke it down, and he told the truth as it relates to how the business of boxing works.
Can't help to ask a little bit of the business side of, like, obviously Crawford has been eyeing the winner, and Errol Spence is making a trip out here to Vegas, and
I saw that.
So I guess maybe on a kind of like a business position, like who would more likely get the fight between Errol and Crawford?
Who will get the fight?
Between the winner, I guess.
Errol Spence.
Okay.
And there's no knock on Crawford, but Errol Spence he's family. He has a relationship with the PBC and has had a relationship a number of years. And if I'm not mistaken, well, one, let me start with Terence Crawford is a beast. But I think he's let it be known that he's a free agent and he's not with the PBC. So, I mean, you know kind of how that goes. It's like...
Well, the guy from Fight Hype asked him, he say, man, will Tszyu fight Terence Crawford next if he wins?
So I guess I have to ask, like, the follow-up question is, when it comes to the two guys, and Terence was the one that beat Spence, and the loyalty, the business sense, and and even if people can go and nitpick on maybe the business of who may sell more, or the potential of selling the fight bigger, would it still be Errol Spence, or would Terence Crawford eclipse?
Only in my opinion.
Yes,
it's only in my opinion, because I just happen to know the numbers, and I know the business that all these fighters who have fought on pay-per-view and what their live gates looked at. I know that. I know that. Errol Spence against the winner of that fight is a bigger fight.
Even with Terence beating Spence and being the undisputed.
So a lot of times don't really have nothing to do with that, and it's no disrespect to anybody. It's just sometimes how the business is.
And he said no, because Errol Spence, that Errol Spence option is pretty much there, and Tszyu is going to do business with the PBC, because Tszyu is in essence a PBC fighter in America. And what he's saying is, he said that Terence Crawford is a free agent. Booger Ray Leonard said Terence Crawford have very, very smart people on his team. They do good business. Even though he beat Spence in the last fight, Tszyu and Errol Spence more than likely will be the next fight.
With the whole free agent of Terence, if Terence wanted to come back and do like a PBC deal, is that what he would need to do, I guess?
I can't speak for Terence Crawford. He has his own representation. Terence is a very smart guy. He has great representation. He just come off of a huge fight with Errol Spence that did very good business. He has a good team. So they would be able to answer that question better, and he's a phenomenal fighter. I can just tell you about the relationship over here with somebody like Errol Spence. Like, he's on speed dial with Al. He's on speed dial with him.
If that's the case, then that means that Tszyu will be dropping his belt. I know what people are saying. Tszyu has been all over the place, and his manager has been all over the place. But I'm telling you how this is going to play out. If Tszyu were to beat Tszyu was to beat Sebastian Fundora tonight, he's going to fight Errol Spence, because he's pretty much a PBC fighter. And Booger Ray Leonard also said that, hey, Errol Spence has Al Hammond on speed dial, and he's a PBC fighter, and we're going to look out for our own fighters over here. And Terence Crawford is not a part of this. Unless he decides to come in on the fold and become one of us, until he do that, this is what it's going to be. This is what Booger Ray Leonard said. And Leonard Ellerbe is right. He told the truth. Sean Porter said that, hey, he said that Tszyu should fight Errol Spence next. So the PBC Witness Protection Program is out of full effect. Tszyu's manager, Glenn Jennings, he gave up the ghost on the Boxing Voice, saying that, hey, if we had an opportunity to fight Errol Spence first, we would fight him first and then fight Terence Crawford. He said we will consider dropping the WBO belt. Now Tim Tszyu came back and said, "No, man, I ain't thinking about dropping no belt. I'm an old school fighter." Yeah, we gonna see. What they say and what they do gonna be two different things. If you're gonna go along with the plan with what Al Heyman say do, guess what? You dropping that belt. I know it and you know it. And if Sebastian Fundora were to beat Tim Tszyu, it's gonna be the exact same thing. So that's just a reality of the situation. I respect Leonard Ellerbe because he told the truth. He right about that. Crawford is a free agent, and you know they're gonna look out. Tim Tszyu is going to fight Errol Spence if he were to beat Sebastian Fundora tonight. That's going to be the play. You say what you want to say. That's what is going to be the play. He's going to end up dropping that WBO belt. I'm betting my money on that. I'm betting my money on that. Unless he go against Al Heyman or go against the grain and go against his manager and say, no, what we going to do, we going to go against that and we going to fight Terence Crawford next. Well, guess what? The last fighter that did that, which was the Big Fish, you know what I mean? You saw what happened to him. So Tim Tszyu was going to fight Errol Spence. Tim Tszyu was going to fight Terence Crawford's leftovers, which is Errol Spence. He's going to fight Terence Crawford's leftovers and Errol Spence. That's the easier fight for him. You know, as Errol Spence fans would say, he's damaged goods. He hasn't been the same since the car accident. He had 2 Cadillac surgeries, and he suffered a severe beatdown. He got assassinated. Damn, they got assaulted and assassinated in Las Vegas. So, you know, we're just going to see how that plays out. That's just a reality of the situation. But I respect Leonard Ellerbe for letting it be known, and Sean Porter let it be known too. Hey, man, look, man, leave Terence Crawford alone. You don't want to fight him next. Fight Errol Spence next. Because if Tim Tszyu were to beat Errol Spence, he's not going to really get too much credit for it because you beat Terence Crawford's leftovers. And you beat a guy that you're supposed to beat coming off a knockout loss. He got knocked out. He's more the easier fight. Fight him in Texas, make some good money, and then, you know, put him out the pasture in front of his fans in Dallas. That's what it's going to be. So you guys, you know, let me know what do you think about it. Do you think that Booger Ray Leonard, you know, the business of boxing, this is how it works, even though Terence Crawford is the WBO mandatory at 154 pounds and he exercised it? Do you think that Tim Tszyu should do what his manager suggested and dropping the belt and fighting Errol Spence next, a guy who's not as mandatory, a guy who's coming off of a knockout loss, a guy who pretty much is damaged goods? Do you think he should fight Terence Crawford's leftovers, or do you think he should fight the man that beat Errol Spence? What do you think?
Man, I'm out of here, bro. Let's go.